Gianni, hello, good morning.
Hello.
Nice Friday morning. You're here in Edinburgh. Tell me what brings you here to the city of a castle in the sky and a volcano nearby.
It's very eloquently put. Well, it's a fantastic place to be, and I'm honoured to be here. I was invited by the Edinburgh International Fashion Festival to come and open the festival. And they've exhibited a project of my work and a life's work actually, with a biographical thread running through it, which is now about 25 years. So I started the event last night and opened the exhibition. We did a talk and a preview. It was a fantastic turnout. We had over 120 people, I think, and a wonderful and Scottish. One of my favourite, if not my favourite, because I just love the passion and the people. So it's an honour to be here, and that's why I'm here. It's it's fantastic.
And your first observations, how would you describe the festival? I mean, what do you think about the future of it? I mean, it's a fairly new thing, growing. What's your views? How do you judge it as a specialist in the trade?
Well, I think what Anna and Jonathan have done, in the last 5 years is nothing short of incredible. I think it's inspiring to bring creativity to such a creative environment, because in Scotland and in Edinburgh, which is steeped in history, as you've quite rightly mentioned at the top of this interview, I think it's a fantastic arena to have it in, because it's so well received, and I think people connect with it. And I think the way that it's grown, and it's an honour to be amongst some of the greatest names in fashion and in the arts, because it's not just completely focused on fashion. And I really enjoy the intellectual approach to it with the symposiums. 3 years ago I came and I closed the festival, so I'm not a newbie here. It feels like family, it really does. And Anna's done an amazing job this year in not just hosting this festival, but actually her vision of where it can go. And this is very clear where it can go, because it's only going one way, I think, and it's just wonderful to be a part of that.
If you were to let's say, give a piece of advice to the creators of the fashion festival for the future, in order to grow it even further, what would it be? What would be your recommendations for the future of the fashion festival?
I think that's very simple. With the people behind the festival at the moment, I would say just continue doing what you're doing, because it's really growing, and it's very proud to be part of it. It's something I really passionately believe in, and I think you can only really do something from the heart. People see through it, I think, otherwise. And I'm particular about which environments I do appear in, and for me, this is like home. It feels like home. I don't just mean the environment and in Edinburgh, but also the people involved. So I think the vision and the drive and the direction it's going in is just keep on the same road, because it's very clearly a success.
I can't resist not asking a question about your career, because it's a long stretch, obviously. If you were to say what were the pinnacles of your career or cooperations in your life, what would they be?
I think there's a few. I think the first, I can point out three for you. I think the first one would be probably, I suppose, becoming the youngest creative director of Vidal Sassoon in its history. Vidal Sassoon to me was something that he was a close friend, and he was my idol and mentor from the beginning. So to have achieved that and had the opportunity to do that was great. It's something that will always stay with me. I think the second one, is my collaborations with fashion photographers. I've been very lucky, and I've formed long-standing relationships with Tim Walker, who I worked with for a number of years, and also David Bailey, who I still work with, working with him for about 6 or 7 years now. So I think working with those types, having a connection, both creatively, professionally, and on a personal level as well. They're wonderful people. And in fact, recently we did a shoot for British Vogue for celebrating 100 years, and it was amazing because Tim came to shoot Bailey, and both of them requested me to be there, which was wonderful. And it was for me, it was a very special day to do that. It was very special. So that was a great moment. And I think thirdly, I think just being part of such a wonderful industry as hairdressing is something I'm very proud of, and the reason I'm here is to talk about the social function of a hairdresser. And I think that's one of the highlights for me. Is I feel after 25 years and I've gone through sort of the salon industry, built up a very busy clientele, through to fashion and working with photographers and publications at a certain level, and now going into education, which is where my next vision is, and using all my experience to put together to be able to bring on and sort of hopefully grow the industry in some way. The social function of a hairdresser to me is absolutely crucial, and I think hairdressers fulfill a very high social function, and I think I'm out really to help teach how to understand how you make someone feel, because I think people put a great value on their looks, but that can vary from person to person. But what doesn't vary as much is actually the value they put on their feelings. I think everybody wants to sort of feel good at the end of the day. So that's kind of where my next sort of passionate highlight, I'm hoping, will be pursuing that road and making a change, I hope.
I mean, I know you styled Prince Harry and many others, so if you were to maybe kind of say who's the best person to work with, or who's the kind of the most problematic person to work with?
I think as I mentioned in my talk last night, I deal with characters, and I either discover them, create them, or develop them. So my prism and my frame, my perspective on people is a little bit different from that. So I don't sort of view people whether they're easy or difficult. I think it's more about understanding, trying to have a deeper understanding of who they are and where they're coming from. And so for me, it's I'm just fascinated with whoever I meet. If there's a few more walls to break down to get to know them, or you can't break through a wall, that's fine as well. But it's for me, the whole process it's less judgmental, and it's a bit more in depth than that. So I try to go a little bit deeper into kind of what makes them tick. And it's really crucial to my process, because if I can't get through to that, then I can't really create on them, because that's where I'm coming from.
Any word of advice to the people of Edinburgh, to the young fashion designers or stylists in Edinburgh? Any last word of advice?
Yeah, absolutely. I think really, I think what's super important, and I was talking about it last night. I was asked with the current exhibition with my inspiration from Sync the Pink and collaboration, what were my learnings from that? And I've been doing this, as I say, for over 25 years now. And I would say that my learnings were to believe in yourself and believe in your instincts. So if you're a young fashion designer or a dancer, anybody creative, a musician, a poet, I think that, or a hairdresser in particular, I think you're going to have feelings. And I think I was always told, and I've always believed, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should use them in that ratio. And that's with other people, but I think it's also within yourself. It's very hard to listen to that little voice it's in your stomach. It's not in your heart or in your head, it's in your stomach. And I think that's your gut instinct, and I think that it's there and it's speaking, but you have to quieten down and listen to it and trust it. And whatever that little voice is saying to whoever you are, I would say listen to it.
Gianni Scumaci, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.